we're back with another episode of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale with Don and Kevin. I'm Don, and last time I looked, you were Kevin.
I was still here.
Are you still Kevin?
Still here, bud.
Good to know, man. Still Kevin with a smile on your face. We got a friend.
You got to change the locks on the doors to get rid of me.
Well, he tried that once. It didn't keep us out, did it? We found our way in.
Yeah.
So we got a friend here today, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Long time.
A guy we've known for a long time who's not going to be a stranger to almost anybody who listens or watches our podcast. And that, of course, is Brian Bednar, a community champion. Brian, welcome today.
Well, thank you guys for inviting me, and I'm so excited to be here today. So
we're glad to have you. We're getting you right at a good time because you've got a career change coming up called retirement soon from SRP.
I do. It's coming up here on May 2nd.
That's not that far away.
It's just a few weeks, and I'm ready. It's time.
Well, you deserved it. You've earned it. That's for sure. So his job at SRP has been a strategic account manager, but I think you've been the jack of all trades there from what we can tell. But he's been the main contact for many of the company's big customers, such as the city of Scottsdale and a host of other cities and organizations, and now soon to retire. What a career. How many years at SRP?
It'll be almost 29, so 28, 10 months.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Like
that's a solid run, man.
And two careers before that, so yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, I worked for General Motors out of college, and then Schlumberger that sold meters to utilities. That's how I got into the utility business. So
see, this is how we're gonna ask Brian to tell us things that he doesn't think people know about him since he's so well known. So give us a little bit about your background. I know you got some plans going back to Kansas and all that kind of stuff, but tell us some things about your background, maybe that some people don't know.
Sure. No, I grew up on a farm, a ranch in Kansas, right on the Kansas-Nebraska border. My dad was in the Navy, was flying planes, and decided that really wasn't for him, so came back to the farm, started buying land, and came up with quite a selection of acres back there on the farm and ranch. What a way to grow up, as a kid. Hunting and fishing and so forth. Growing up in a small town there in northeast Kansas, playing a lot of sports in school. Went to school at Kansas State University.
Okay, Jayhawks, right?
Wildcats.
Wildcats. Oh, I'm saying the wrong thing there, aren't I? Oh, sorry, man.
That's okay.
It's all back in there, Kansas somewhere.
The longer you're away, the fighting words go away. I was going to be a dentist, of all things. People probably don't know too much about that story.
Oh,
but
that's a good story.
That's another story by itself. But I went into engineering just because I love math and science and engineering. Back during that time in the 80s engineering was a big field, and got my engineering degree and went to work for General Motors right out of college and was based in Dallas, Texas for several years.
Wow. What did you do for GM?
Kind of a regional sales service manager. So I traveled about 5 states. It gave me a brand new GM car every 7,000 miles. Every 2 or 3 months, I get a new car.
That's pretty sweet there, isn't it?
Could pick out any car we wanted except a Corvette or Cadillac. So pick a car.
We that would have been number one on my list.
Great job. Then moved into Schlumberger, selling meters to utilities there in Texas. About a year or so promoted me to Phoenix, and I came out here in Phoenix in 1988.
Okay. How did you get in with SRP then?
I was selling meters for Schlumberger to APS, SRP, Tucson, and things like that. And opportunity came up through a guy through Motorola. Back in the day, Motorola was the largest company here in the Valley. Remember that?
Yeah, sure.
A little history there. This guy said, "Hey, there's a job opening at SRP, and I think you fit really well into that." And literally in 2 weeks, I had a job.
Wow.
It just happened that fast.
That's fabulous.
Wasn't quite looking, but the opportunity came up, and what a great company it's been.
That's the way good things usually happen, right? Yeah. Kevin, SRP is probably one of our best corporate community citizens in all of the Valley.
They're involved in everything. They sponsor a lot of things. They're very charitable, very involved, really into education, and they're just a wonderful corporate citizen.
Back in the day when I was still running the Business Journal, they were basically our number one client.
Really?
And we did all kinds of really cool things with them. I mean, innovative things too back in the day. So that was good. Well, let's talk a little bit. We want to get into your community stuff because there's a lot of fun there too. But tell us a little bit about what you did at SRP and how things are going there as you get ready to exit.
Sure. I've kind of been in the same department ever since I joined. I was brought in as an electrical engineer to call on the large, at that time, electrical companies here in the Valley, Motorola being the largest customer, Microchip and different companies like that. Boeing and Honeywell were some of my first clients I had. So some of the big companies in town still were my clients back in the 90s, early 2000s. Was ready to change careers during that time. And they decided, Brian, you're doing such a good job. We want you to keep you there. So they transferred me over to the government relations kind of side, calling on the munis and the cities and the Native American communities.
Okay.
Kind of a single point of contact. So what that means is, SRP is so big. You're 5,000 employees. City of Phoenix is 10,000, whatever employees. People don't know where to go inside SRP.
Sure.
And so they wanted somebody like an energy manager or account manager to be that single point of contact where the customers would come through somebody like me, and we could coordinate, if they want to talk to billing or solar department or whatever it might be, they come through me and I manage that, take care of that. If they want to meet the CEO of the company, whatever, that was kind of my job, and just really build relationships.
So they had one number to call. That was yours. And you take them wherever they need to go.
Whatever they needed to do, I was holding their hand and taking care of them.
I wish more big companies would do that today.
That's a cool job.
That's not bad at all.
Right?
No. You're talking to all the big guys in town on a regular basis.
Well, it sounds cool, but there was a lot of things behind the scenes.
When they have problems, they call you too, right?
Of course.
They're not calling you to say, hey, I'm happy.
Yeah.
They're calling to say, hey, I got a problem.
And the intent was really there to have an account manager assigned so anything doesn't get escalated to senior leadership.
Right.
So we were there to kind of manage and handle all those issues and concerns a customer had. And we handled pretty much everything that came along.
Sounds like a fabulous career. What are some of your highlights? What's the one or two highlights that you'll remember for a long time from your career?
Motorola was the largest customer SRP had at the time. I mean, it was to manage the largest customer of SRP back in the late 90s was an honor. I mean, it was just really, really cool. I'll never forget, if you guys remember back in the day when the Motorola SeaTac or phone came out, the flip phone.
Yeah, sure.
It was $500 and $600 at the time.
They were making them all.
Oh,
right?
yeah, they were making them
right. Yeah.
So SRP, very expensive phone. So, and cell phones were just kind of coming out back in the mid 90s, right? So only people that were connected to Motorola or senior executives could get a Motorola phone. And so they said, Brian, since you call Motorola, you get one of the new Motorola phones.
Oh, yeah.
So here I'm walking around and sharing that. Great customers. I deal with the mayor sometimes, city council, city managers. There's just so much going on in the day-to-day business of any city, any town.
Yeah.
Just making sure they're taken care of and make sure they're happy.
Was that Motorola cell phone your first cell phone?
No, there was some before that for General Motors, but that was way before that.
I'm just thinking of I can remember my first cell phone was in the size of about a shoe sign box.
Yeah.
And it was on a cord, and I had it in the back of my car. And you bring the phone around the back of your seat, and it would be attached to the cord.
Right.
And that was cutting edge back in the day.
Right.
Yeah, going back a few years.
Was it in a bag? You had like a little portable carry bag?
It was like how when you would have shoe shine kit?
Yeah.
It was like a shoe shine kit.
Yeah.
It was about that big, about 2 feet by 2 feet wide, and in a box.
Right.
And it was just so. I mean, back then it was the coolest thing going because I could call from people when they couldn't carry it around.
Yeah.
So it's always in your car,
Yeah.
But it was really cool.
Absolutely.
Now it's like ridiculous.
Yeah, I know, right?
And now, back then, the Blackberries, that's a kind of an old term too. That was the thing where every company had back then, and they had a little phone out, but the Blackberries were big back then too.
Hey, Brian, so Motorola was your biggest customer.
Back then, yep.
They were using a lot of power, I imagine.
Absolutely.
Do you have any data centers that are currently SRP customers now?
We have so many data centers. They obviously take a lot of power to keep those places cool. And they're constantly moving here, basically because we have great weather.
Yeah.
We don't have any natural disasters per se, like earthquakes or, hurricanes and things like that. And power here in Arizona is fairly reasonably priced.
Yeah.
So they're wanting to move here, and the amount of power they take is pretty exorbitant.
Yeah,
so it's tough to provide power.
But they become competitive, though. I know that sometimes SRP and APS might be sort of competing for a big customer like that because they know it's going to be a large customer.
Yeah.
So it's become somewhat competitive too, huh?
Somewhat, but APS and SRP are great partners. We work together. We cross lines, and we couldn't do without them, and they couldn't do without us, and we just are great partners together. So we work well together.
It's kind of a cool arrangement. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So it's all coming to an end. So before we get into some of your fun community stuff, what are you going to do when you retire?
Life goes down different paths, obviously, and it's time to retire. It's 28 plus years. Got a lot of things I want to do, obviously travel, but remodel my house. My dad passed away a few months ago, so I'm working on some things with that, remodeling their house. But really just get out and enjoy life, a little bit, do some traveling and see some friends.
Couple K-State games.
K-State games, go back to the farm and the ranch and see some things back there. I'm not planning on leaving Scottsdale.
Yeah.
I'm still going to be involved and very connected here to the Valley, but I'll go back and do some things. But
and you're going to be a bit of a quasi farmer then as well.
Well, I grew up on the farm, so we'll see what that brings. Time will tell. But I don't have no desire to go back there and live again. But what a great place to grow up as a kid and do some hunting and fishing, and I might do some of that stuff back there.
Wouldn't be bad to go back there in the summertime.
Yeah.
He might get in the combine and decide he likes it a lot and stay there.
You never know.
Get back to the soil, man. Back to the roots.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. Well, I have no doubt that you'll still be involved in the community because your resume of community involvement is longer than anybody could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
So I'm not even really sure where to start. But why don't we start with the Fiesta Bowl? Because that's always a lot of fun to talk about that. You've been on the board since the 90s, right?
Yeah, I started, actually, when I joined SRP, I probably started as a Yellow Jacket back in the late 90s. And I just got on the board itself about 4 years ago. I came on the board the year of COVID.
Okay.
So that first year of COVID, we didn't obviously do a whole lot, but I was brought on the board in 2020. So this is kind of going on my fourth, fifth year on the board itself. So, what an honor to serve for that type of organization and what they've been doing in the Valley for so many years.
Exciting as heck. Can you imagine, how many games did you have to go scout out during bowl season? Prelims and all that kind of stuff?
Yep, absolutely.
How many years did you do that?
No, we make trips and travel. I go back to K-State quite a bit as well, and obviously the Big 12 now has expanded teams to ASU, U of A, and Utah, and different things. Whether we like that or not, that's where we're at in this new world of college football and so forth. So it brings some new excitement. And this past year, we just had the new playoff system.
Right,
it just started. So we will always be in the semifinal or quarterfinal game. So the Fiesta Bowl is still a premier bowl game.
Right.
And so we are very excited about being included in that going forward, and we should see some really good games.
I would love to know what some of your favorite memories are from your Fiesta Bowl time.
One of the biggest ones was probably Oklahoma Boise State. I was on the field for that game. I was on the field for that game. I've been on the field for most of the games, but I was on the field and it was third overtime, I think. And they went in and scored, and I was standing next to
Johnson,
the cheerleader.
Yeah.
He ran over and proposed to his girlfriend literally right in front of me. I was 10 feet away, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what a opportunity. And then this past year I was up in Boise State for the Mountain West Championship game. I was assigned to go up there for that. And I got to meet him. He works up in that area.
He's a State Farm agent now.
I think he sells insurance up there. Him and his wife.
They're married still?
Still married.
Good.
So, what an incredible story. There's so many stories the Fiesta Bowl has over all these years, obviously.
That was like what, 12, 15 years
2007, 8, someplace in there.
Yeah.
6, 7. Yeah.
Warms my heart because my alma mater, Penn State's undefeated in the Fiesta Bowl. I think they've 8-0, I think, or something. I think they've won 8 games now. Yeah.
They've done well.
I can still remember going back to I think it was 1986 when it was Penn State, Miami for the national championship.
Yeah.
That's right.
A big one.
That was fun.
A big one.
That was fun. Yeah. But what a history the Fiesta Bowl has here. What a community institution that is.
Absolutely. We give back so many ways. So, yep.
How did you get involved with the Fiesta Bowl in the first place?
I was working as a volunteer just through SRP on the parade. We were handing out water to all the bands as they come down the parade route, and that was before the light rail was going down Central and so forth. So the parade ended right there at Thomas Road. Of course, now we got to change it because of the light rail. But I was handing out water to some of the bands, and somebody from SRP that was on the board at the time saw me and says, "Hey, Brian, we need somebody from SRP to kind of come on." And so she asked me to come on, fill out the application in like 97, 98, and been there ever since.
That's a nice way to get in, man.
Yeah.
And what a long story career.
Isn't that interesting how your career at SRP and your career at the festival have kind of been parallel to one another, huh?
SRP is such a great company. Like Don says, they encourage employees to go out in the community, give back, do community service hours. And what a great organization to do that, because that not only keeps their employees fresh and active in the community, but it really sends a message out there that SRP is really giving back to the community, in so many different ways.
It's part of the culture, isn't it?
It's part of the culture, and, just opposite. What a great company.
Since I've been around for a long time, doing newspaper stuff, the culture's never changed.
Yeah. No.
You know, no matter the leaders come and go, people come and go, but the culture stays, and, you know, which is really a testament to good, sustained leadership at a company.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic.
We can tell because they also regularly will send candidates through Scottsdale Leadership almost every year. It's SRP.
They sure do.
Person coming through Scottsdale Leadership, which is another part of your resume, former president of Scottsdale Leadership.
That is correct. Yes.
Talk about your passion for Scottsdale Leadership. You're there all the time.
I'm there a lot. I joined Scottsdale Leadership. I had just gone through a divorce, and obviously, people that have gone through divorce, it's a really tough time in your life, and I just needed some positive interjection. And somebody at SRP suggested, you know, what a great opportunity to go into leadership. If you want to, you know, move up in your career path, you know, what an opportunity as well. So I applied, got into class 20. Class 20 was known as XX Dos Equis.
Dos Equis.
XX.
Right.
Had really no intention to really stay too much involved. I helped and supported and volunteered a little bit, but I kind of dropped off for a few years. A few years later, I got a call, said, hey, we would love to have you come back and be the secretary treasurer on the board. And I'm thinking, okay, I can do that. It's a 2-year gig. And so I got really kind of involved with that, and I was ready to go. I was ready to do my 2 years, and I was ready to move on.
Uh-huh.
They said, oh, no, we want you to be the incoming board president.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, so, all right, what does that mean, right? So that's another 3 years because you're the incoming, you're the board president, then you're the past president. And so, you know, what an incredible blessing, what an incredible opportunity. So thankful that I was given that opportunity to do that. Not too many people have, obviously, but to lead that organization and to just lead just a positive, great opportunity was just, I grew so much from that. I really did.
I'll bet. Yeah.
Really did.
So the organization under your leadership. So it's, you know, it goes both ways.
It does.
And you're still a mentor today, I believe, right?
I do a lot of mentoring. I'm still mentoring one of the new class members this year. I'm still mentoring a couple of the board members from the last couple of years. And I really do enjoy the mentoring part.
Really?
I really, really do.
Sure you do.
Kind of paying it forward. You know, when I was married, didn't have kids. So I guess it's my way of giving back and paying it forward. And they seem to like it, and I seem to enjoy it too. So I guess it goes both ways.
He started to set us up as a role model citizen here, Kevin.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, do you remember when he went, well, okay, let's get into this then. Well, now Scottsdale Leadership Term recognized you for all your service because you won the Hodges Award last year.
That's right.
And if you remember at the awards ceremony, they were reading some of his resume, and we were all like,
hello.
you know? Yeah, so that must have been a thrill for you.
You know, gosh, after following you guys and that award, I was shocked. They brought me up to the Scottsdale Leadership Office, and I was there for a meeting to kind of plan my classics. I'm also teaching a class, Economic Development Day, and we were sitting there, and all these incredible leaders and past award winners started walking into the conference room. I said, what are you guys here
Something's
for?
up.
Well, we're here for you.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness, you know, what a shock. And I had a tear in my eye, and very, very honored to follow in those footsteps after you and you guys both. So, but yeah, the video, oh my gosh,
right?
They just did an incredible job in that video. That was hard to follow.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I bet.
Well, you guys are both Hodges Award winners. I was on Kevin's video as well.
Yeah,
I almost teared up doing Kevin's video filming,
I remember that.
much less trying to watch it when it was on the screen, you know? Yeah.
It's neat how they don't let you see it till the day of.
Well, you know, I think they want that emotional part. And man, I was full of emotion because, you know, Jim Bruner spoke and Larry Hewitt, but then at the very end, they brought in my little brother, Pete, that I'd known since he was 9 years old. And now he's flying, he went to Air Force Academy, flying planes for the Air Force, still married and got 2 kids himself. And he was on at the very last. And that's what did it for me.
Over the top, huh?
Over the top. I was trying to walk up on stage. I was in tears and I was about ready to lose it, but I held it together, I think, for the most part.
Absolutely. You guys both did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
You know, and recognition for both of you. But Brian, for you, it was well deserved, man. You you've paid your dues. How do you inspire others, especially younger people, to really start getting active in the community? What are some tricks that mentoring is one thing, but what else can we do to inspire more young people to get involved?
You know, that's a great question. I also mentor a student back at K-State. I'm on the foundation or trustee board back there, and they assigned me a young student. It's just such amazing young people out there that I think just want more and they're looking for more. And, you know, I've found a few folks back there, and even here in the valley, they're looking for opportunities. They want more information. They want more knowledge, and they want to listen to what other people have to say, maybe in their career, or what to do in the community, what kind of community service things they could do, what volunteer things they can do. And so obviously I'm a wealth of knowledge like you guys, and just kind of want to pay it forward.
That's great. I look at our world today, so politically divided.
Yeah.
One place where we can come together, no matter what kind of side of the aisle you sit on, is when we're doing community good.
Oh, absolutely.
And so
Totally
I'd love to see us, maybe Kevin, maybe you and I can start focusing some more podcasts on just looking for opportunities for people to join in and do things that are good for the community, with
absolutely.
organizations, whatever they may be,
Yeah.
that are giving back.
Absolutely.
That's really important.
Yeah.
So you had a long resume. Well, besides, we talked about Scottsdale leadership and the Fiesta Bowl. What else have you has been a passion in your heart?
I was Big Brothers Big Sisters organization for 25 years. I started that in college. When I first moved to Dallas, I was signed to a little kid, and really changed his life. And I think I've been assigned to 4 young men over those 20 years.
That's
and
great.
Supported that and so forth. So that was a big part of my life early in my life, because we did a lot in the fraternity house in college. We give back, raise money, and things like that. So that was another one. Obviously, been on the K-State trustee board back at Kansas State for a number of years, giving back. I have a scholarship set up to give to a student going to K-State.
Good for you. Yeah.
From my hometown area, and kind of want to pay it forward. Like I said, I have no kids, but what a great way to give back and
Sure
have
is.
kids go to college there and stuff like that. So yeah, there are just a lot of things. I can keep my fingers on the pulse of different things.
I know you've managed to avoid politics, although I know you came close. So
he flirted.
flirting. And I remember that, because maybe you and I talked about that a while back.
We did.
So why not?
I was ready to kick things off, 2 years ago. And my parents were going through some struggles, and the timing wasn't right, but I was ready. I've been meeting with folks. I got my first check, and I had everything set up. I had my team for the most part set up, ready to go. And I took up a trip to Europe for like 2.5 weeks. And I'm thinking, you know what, this is going to be the time for me to just kind of figure out life and kind of what I want to do next. And I knew in my mind what I wanted, but my friends really gave me some ideas and some things over there when I was with them. And I came back and I realized the timing's not right.
Yeah.
So I made that choice to not do it. And I'm glad I didn't, because some crazy things have happened here in Scottsdale.
You think?
And so forth. And, maybe after I retire, I've got to maybe revisit that and kind of see where I'm at, what's going on.
Kevin, I think we're breaking some news here, man.
Yeah, right. Well, he's still
Why
young.
not?
He's still young.
Of course you are.
Yeah. So
And it turns out that, when you look at the people that can run for city councils and sometimes school boards, the city councils particularly,
yeah,
it's hard to run and serve as a city council if you're working full time.
it is.
Some do,
Yeah.
and some can,
Yeah.
but it's tough. It's a challenge. So we end up with city councils that are a little bit older in age because of that. So you're fitting the agenda, man.
If I would have gotten on, I probably would have retired a little bit early, but who knows? But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think to really give fully to what needs to be done in Scottsdale, either mayor or city council, you've got to commit a lot of your time. And if you're still working full time, that just doesn't give the time needed to run, a city like Scottsdale, in my opinion.
So what do you think of the future of your hometown here in Scottsdale as you look forward, whether it's politics or just growth or issues, or what strikes you, because you're plugged into all this stuff?
You guys, Scottsdale is building out. Scottsdale's getting close to build out.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I envision, and I hope our city leaders look at this, I said, all right, what do we have left? What do we want Scottsdale to end up with here at the end, or, and things like that. So I'm not for sure if they're looking at that. I'm not for sure if they've got a vision far enough down the road to see that, like Herb Drinkwater did back in the day. I mean, he had a vision. Of course, back then Scottsdale, had a lot of land and a lot of growth opportunities. So, we need leaders that have got a vision. And I haven't really seen that the last several years. Kind of what do we want our town to be like?
Where are we going beyond the next election cycle?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which a lot of people get stuck in all the time. But
Yeah.
You could argue that there's not a lot of vision discussion going on right now at the city level.
No.
It's tear it down.
Yeah. Well, now we're breaking things down that people have, worked a long time to set up.
Yeah.
So it's not from that vision thing, which I think we desperately need. I mean, I see headlines in the paper this morning about what's behind all the drama at the Scottsdale City Council. We used to never see headlines like
We
that.
never saw that.
You know?
Never saw it during Drinkwater's time, or up until the last 15, maybe 20 years, we've seen that. But people don't want apartments. Well, then what do they want? There's nobody coming forward to give other opportunities or other ideas. Well, apartments we need, but let's make them exceptionally, really cool Scottsdale type apartments that are unique, that are different, that people talk about when they come to Scottsdale. Let's make them special.
Yep. Which we can do.
We can do that.
We can demand, we can still have development, but just demand first class, really classy development.
Absolutely.
And it can work.
Yeah.
Historically, it has. Well, it takes us back to days we were talking beforehand about the Fiesta Bowl and the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Some of the old institutions in town and places like the Sugar Bowl that still exist today and hadn't changed not one iota.
Just think the history in that place and the stories coming out of that place. Can you imagine? Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be nice. But wouldn't it be interesting to sit down with somebody like Herb Drinkwater right now and have him look at Scottsdale and say, how are things in your estimation?
Yeah.
How do you see things going forward?
You guys have there's some amazing older leaders that are getting aged. And I don't know if you guys have thought about bringing some of those folks back, but there's some people there that
We
have got
Don Carson on a couple weeks ago.
a lot of history of this city and so forth too. So, we hate to lose that. So
Jim Bruner's on a while back along with his wife, Sandy.
Yep.
There's so much historical
David Dinah
institution.
Smith.
And David and Dinah Smith too, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and they all have great reflections on Scottsdale. And you know what? All those folks, for the most part, they had vision.
They did.
And that's why they were good leaders.
Absolutely. That's what good leaders should be doing, is looking at their vision, looking down the road, not present time. So,
yeah, you get stuck in the quagmire of day in and day out politics without realizing where's the city going on a long-term basis.
Yeah, right.
And what kind of leadership is needed to take us there. We're going to have to see how that plays out. We're still early in the new council. But so far, not seeing a lot of signs that we got vision coming out.
Yeah, I just hope something happens here and they can break out and they can see the big picture. But I don't know. We'll see what happens as they move forward, and they're still learning the ropes, and some of the new council members and the new mayor. But time will
We
tell.
shall see for sure. Kevin Bryant's he's the role model community leader, isn't he?
Brian, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We just wanted to recognize you and all your efforts, your long tenure public service to our community. You've done a great job, and I really hope you enjoy your retirement.
Well, Kevin and Don, thank you guys so much. What an opportunity to come see you guys and talk a little bit about my past and history and how I love Scottsdale, and hopefully continue to do many things and maybe be on some more boards down the road.
There you go.
We got a couple takeaways.
Oh, yeah.
Community involvement in Scottsdale ain't gonna stop.
Nope.
Politics is still a possibility.
He's thinking about
We're
it.
gonna keep that front of mind a little bit as we move forward. 'Cause again, we need good leaders,
Yes,
right?
we do.
So we'll be checking in, man, to make sure we can follow up
good.
on some of these things we're talking about today.
Sounds good.
But thanks, Brian, for all you've done for our community, all you've done for your company. And the company's been such a great community citizen. So it all kind of goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
That does. Absolutely does.
And thanks to all of you for listening. Our podcast sponsored by Scott, the Scottsdale Coalition of Tomorrow. You can find us at scottnow.com. Please share it with your friends and your neighbors and anybody else you can think of for that matter. And then we'll see you again next week for the next episode of Today and Tomorrow in Scottsdale.